not going 7-9. Okay? I'm not going 7-9. Okay? 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 I'm not going 7-9. Okay?
Welcome to the Grueling Truther L.A. Rams 2.0 weekly show, brought to you by the GruelingTruth.net and Gridiron Mo, an interesting new interactive football game app which pits you against other football fans across the country in predicting the next play within live NFL games. Think you're smarter than the average fan? Check it out today. Give yourself a try on Gridiron Mo at gridironmo.com. My name is Os Davis. I'll be your co-host for the show today, and joining me as always is former Notre Dame, Buffalo Bills, and Los Angeles Rams great Tony Hunter. Tony, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Doing great. Beautiful day here in Cincinnati.
All right, great. Yeah, it's actually cooling off here in Orange County, California. We're not sweating for the first time in 7-8 months.
Wow. Yeah. No, it's comfortable here. I'd say it's 73, 74 degrees, and it's comfortable. So.
Excellent. Most excellent. Well, enough of the weather. We were talking before the show. Tony and I were talking before the show, and Tony is almost more enthusiastic about our 3-1 Los Angeles Rams after the 17-13 win over the Arizona Cardinals than I am. Tony, tell us about it. How great?
Yeah, I tell you what, I think the Rams, they're definitely the surprise of the NFL this young NFL season. They're the talk of the NFL. And I'll tell you what, that defense, we're riding our defense at this point, and I believe Arron Donald has become the best defensive player in the National Football League now that J.J. Watt is out with an injury. But our defense has been playing great, and Arron Donald at 6'1", 285 pounds, has been playing some unbelievable football for us.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because the head honcho here at the Grueling Truth, Mike Goodpaster, and I had this conversation when I asked him if Donald was the best defensive player in the NFL. He's like, nah.
Yeah, I really think he is. And when you have, the guy, when he came out of college, he had previously won the Lombardi and the Outland Trophy as college's best defensive lineman. So
that's right.
He had a lot of ability coming into the NFL, but I don't think that people felt that he would develop into what he has, because he's, as far as defensive linemen are concerned, he's not that big a guy. 6'1", 285 pounds. Yeah, that's a big guy. But as far as NFL standards is concerned, he's not a really big defensive lineman. But he plays big. And I tell you, he's a force. He's a force on that line for the Rams.
The Rams actually have a lot of guys who play big. You have Cunningham out there at basically fullback. He plays big. You have Tavon Austin, who's about 5'3", but plays like a 6-footer. Interesting stuff we got out there. I wanted to talk about Donald. I wanted to give him a shout out. He was involved in 2 sacks, 3 tackles for a loss. Just a beast in this game. Just a beast.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what we've been holding our success is really based off the type of defense that we're playing. Offensively now, offensively we're doing okay. We're not turning the ball over, but defensively, I saw against Arizona, our defense and our defensive backs were able to contain Larry Fitzgerald, Michael Floyd, two of some of the best receivers in all of football. We were able to control them that game and pull the game off.
I wanted to comment on this because I feel like I should apologize on behalf of this show, on behalf of a lot of Rams fandom, to some of the Rams players, specifically Trumaine Johnson and LaMarcus Joyner out there in the secondary. You know, we've been saying all year that, well, the secondary is a bit shaky. Well, Janoris Jenkins is a big hit. But in this game, wow, these guys were batting down balls. They must have had at least 4 passes defensed, they call them nowadays, between the two of them. Just everywhere, just really limited Carson Palmer and then later Drew Stanton when Palmer went out. Just a nice job by them. Nice secondary. Show some life out there.
Most definitely. And they're really playing good football right now, and they just need to keep it up. And I'll tell you, offensively, I feel like Case Keenum, he's playing pretty much error-free football. He's not turning the ball over. Mm-hmm. He's not really getting the ball downfield very often, but he's making nice short passes. And I'll tell you what, he's 3-1 as a starter for the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC West. And I'll tell you what, that's impressive. That's impressive.
I also wanted to say this. You're hitting all the points I am, Tony. Before I get to him, you're stealing my thunder out here today. I just wanted to say this. Yeah, he's 3-1 this season. He's 6-3 career now. We have to stop complaining about this guy. We have to stop complaining about this guy. I mean, he is, you know, like we've been saying, he is a game manager. You know, nothing flashy. Right, doesn't throw the ball long. We know this. You know, he had the 2 yards after catch touchdowns in this game. Okay, no big deal. But teams like the Broncos with Mr. Simeon and teams like the Vikings, more painfully with Mr. Bradford, have seen that this year you can do that. You can have
especially if you have a dominant defense.
Right.
Yeah, if you have a dominant defense. And I think Case is starting to go. He's found his go-to receivers in Kenny Britt and Brian Quick. I think Brian Quick had a couple touchdowns the last game. Kenny Britt had some big catches. Tavon Austin had a nice punt return. So he has some talent on offense, some go-to guys that he's having a lot of success with right now.
Yeah, and for I guess the most exciting development for the Rams going forward, I mean, beyond the actual record itself and the actual win itself, is the fact that Todd Gurley got 5 catches in this game. So there's I didn't realize he could catch the ball so well coming out of Georgia. But I guess basically this year he has, as far as running the football, he hasn't been as effective as I thought he would be. 82 attempts, 216 yards for an average of about 2.6 yards per carry, which is you know, rather pedestrian for a talent like Todd Gurley. But on the other hand, you have Case Keenum, who's on the season 67 for 121. So he's completed 67 balls out of 121 attempts for 825 yards, which is a 55% completion rating, which is excellent. Excellent as far as NFL standards go. Well, I mean, you know how it's been. I mean, it's been such a slog for Gurley this season because he's hitting, 8-9 guys in the box. I mean,
I know.
I've never seen.
And I think that's something we may be able to improve on as we move forward, because I think Case is starting to have a little more success getting the ball down the field. I'm looking here. Kenny Britt has 18 catches for 281 yards, which is about 15 yards per catch. And Tavon Austin has 16 catches for 159 yards, which is only 9.9 yards a catch. And Brian Quick I think he's a surprise of the year for us at the receiving corps. He has 8 catches, 153 yards, and 19 yards per catch. But he has 3 touchdowns.
He's extending a lot of catches, too. I mean,
yeah.
You talk about these guys who can throw the ball 60 yards downfield, end to end, but,
right.
Our guy Case cannot.
Right, that's not his game.
No, yeah, not at all. It was the same thing in this game. It's kind of like the alley-oop 20-yarder, and Quick goes up and gets it. Now Quick, here's another guy. He's already big, but he plays even bigger. Here's a guy who's about 6'5", 6'6", plays like a 7-footer.
Right.
Really goes up there and gets it. So a lot of it is about yards after the catch. But again, nobody's buying the long ball from Case Keenum. So, one nice way, I think, to extend that box to give Gurley some breathing room is to pass it to him. And he
has the ability to catch it out of the backfield like that.
Right.
They got something to do it much in college. I don't remember him doing that very much in college, but he looks really comfortable with it. So, of course, get him. If you have to throw him the screen, whatever it takes, put the ball in his hands because he's a very gifted runner.
Well, it would be nice to get him the ball in space. I mean, that was the thing, is that he would make the catch and he would look upfield and you couldn't see it, but you'd imagine his eyes just getting real big. Going,
right. Oh yeah. He's a natural runner, and I think that's what they're trying to do. They see that, they're coming up against these 8-man fronts, and there's really nowhere for him to run right now. And the offensive line for the Rams right now, I think their rating is subpar. It's a little down right now, and I think that's the biggest problem he's having right now. He's just not getting the line to block the way it should. But I think they're trying to supplement that by throwing it to him out of the backfield and letting him use his talent in the open field that way.
Well, I went to go see a bunch of the training camp out here in Irvine. I went to, I watched the preseason games and whatnot. The run blocking looked pretty good, and they were accenting the hell out of it in camp, that's for sure. But then, once the games actually started, just was not up to spec. I mean, again, these are 5 guys, our listed starters are 5 guys who are all, I believe, under 26. And I believe our most veteran guy has, I think, 4 years in the NFL. I mean, this is a young team. A couple of these guys we drafted last year, Havenstein and blanking on the other name. But, a couple of these guys are literally drafted last year. They had to play as rookies last year. So we knew that the offensive line wasn't going to be the best in the NFL.
Pretty much a young roster, which bodes well for the future of our Rams because I tell you, there are a lot of young, talented, good football players, and we can't forget about Jared Goff, the number 1 pick in the draft, by Case Keenum having so much success right now that continues to allow for Goff to kind of sit back and learn the way Jeff Fisher appears to prefer his quarterback, his young quarterbacks to do. Just sit back and watch it. And as long as Case Keenum keeps winning and the Rams keep winning, Jared Goff can keep sitting in the background and learning instead of actually being thrown in the fire. And with that offensive line right now, with our offensive line the way we're blocking at this point, I'm not sure we want to do that because that would really hurt the young kids' confidence. And but right now, I tell you what, it's looking pretty good for Jeff Fisher. What he really likes doing, letting that rookie quarterback or that backup quarterback sit back there and learn something before he's actually thrown in the fire.
You're listening to the L.A. Rams 2.0 show with Os Davis and Tony Hunter. Right. Okay. So here we are. Rams at 3-1. We're 2-1 against the division. And last night, the Cardinals just beat the 49ers. So they're under our score there. We have the tiebreaker, right, as it stands right now, we have the tiebreaker with Seattle. Okay. The good news is that in the short term, our schedule looks pretty manageable. Let's see. So this week we have Detroit, and then I'm sorry. This week
Buffalo.
We have Buffalo. After that, it's at home against Detroit, at home against the Giants, and then the bye.
We could be 5-1 in a couple of weeks.
Right.
The Rams could be 5-1 in a couple of weeks, and they have their franchise quarterback sitting in the background learning. So that's I tell you what, Jeff, if you would have told him that he would be at this point last year or during the off-season workouts that we could possibly be at 5-1, I think he would have taken that. Definitely, he would have taken it.
Oh, he probably believed it, though. I mean, you know, every NFL coach is completely egomaniacal, and I'm sure he believed it was possible.
Yeah. I tell you, it took a lot of guts for him to. It takes a lot of guts for him to sit Jared Goff like this, but I guess he had a lot of confidence in Case Keenum and knew that he could do the job, and he's doing it right now. So hats off to Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, for not pulling the trigger too soon.
Right, which after that first game against San Francisco, I'm sure he was tempted to. And I'm sure there was probably pressure put on him to go ahead and put Jared Goff in the game and just let it fly. But, hey, I'll give him credit. He stuck to what he believes in, and it's working out for him.
Yeah, and we don't want to count our chickens before they're hatched, but 5-1 is not unimaginable. Even with some bounces going our way, 6-1 going into the break could be possible. However, here's the bad news: coming out of the bye, here's the schedule. Not so favorable. At home against the Panthers, at the Jets, at home against the Dolphins. Okay, there's a winnable one. At the Saints, at the Patriots, at home against the Falcons, at the Seahawks.
It sounds like an NFL schedule. That's just, I'll tell you what, that's an NFL schedule. Yeah. Every week you're playing against the best in the world. You know, it's and that's something that all the NFL teams are facing against. It's tough to make an NFL roster because you have so many talented players, and that's basically they're going to be going through maybe the toughest part of their schedule, but it's pretty typical of an NFL schedule. Week in and week out, you're going to be challenged.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I buy that. And I also think that if we had the recent history of, like, I don't know, the Falcons or the Saints or something like this schedule wouldn't seem so daunting. This schedule would seem like business as usual. But we haven't done that yet recently. So we're not accustomed to seeing this schedule. And I still think that this is mighty backloaded here.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, the division that the Rams are playing in is just so tough, so competitive. When like I said, the Seahawks, you're starting to see them come on right now. Yeah. Arizona just had a big win the other night to bounce back from their loss against the Rams, so they're starting to come on right now. So I tell you, it's going to be a dogfight, and it's going to be tough to win that division.
Oh yeah, I'm not thinking about winning the division.
Okay, really? You don't think the Rams can win? We're in first place right now.
I think Seattle has too much talent. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I took Seattle to be in the Super Bowl this year. So
okay, yeah, and you know, Arizona was predicted to possibly get to the Super Bowl this year. So, but so far the Rams have been the dominant team in that division. They're beating everybody. So, and they're really just getting started. So the offense is starting to pick up the pace a little bit, and hopefully we can get a running game going here pretty soon, and we'll see what happens. But I like the way we've been playing, and I like the Rams' chances going down the stretch.
I do in another respect. I'm glad you brought up the Cardinals because, they were kind of a vogue pick before the season to be mentioned here. But a lot of people have been arguing that since the demolishment of Carson Palmer and these guys in the playoffs last year against Carolina, they just haven't been the same. To me, the only players who have been playing at the level of last year or better are Fitzgerald and Brown. I just don't see. I don't know. It's like their spirit has been broken. But the question I had for you is, does this stuff really exist, or do the fans and the talking heads just kind of make it up? Do we just imagine it's there?
As far as what now? Imagining.
It's like you have a really bad playoff loss, and it literally sends you on a downspin for the rest of your career. Or for the
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that because your personnel changes. Every year is a new year. Heck, in the NFL, each week is a new season. Every week's a big week. So I wouldn't necessarily say that. With the Cardinals winning that last game, I think that was a big win for them, confidence-wise. So, and I think that from this point on, we're going to start to see them hit their stride offensively. And I felt the same way about Seattle. I felt Seattle, every year they seem to start off a little slow the first 2-3 games of the season. By mid-season, they're starting to pick up steam, and they're starting to play Seahawk football. And I think Arizona, they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Okay, I'm still not a believer. I mean, they won this game against a pretty bad San Francisco team, and with Drew Stanton at quarterback. So I don't know. My personal jury is still out on Arizona. I think if the playoffs started today, they're not in it. It's not yet a playoff team.
I agree. Today, but we're still way early in the season. Still way early in the season. It's a long NFL season. And
still a lot of football to be played, as they
still quite a bit of football to be played, absolutely.
Speaking of football to be played, let's talk about next week.
Okay.
Buffalo is coming to town here in Los Angeles. Hopefully they won't have the internal problems with the stadium that they did last time. Apparently the fan experience was not quite so good as they might have hoped. Second game back here in Los Angeles since the move back home. Looking at Buffalo, kind of had an up and down season this year. Of course, beating the Patriots, of course, on the other hand, with a third string quarterback. Coming out strong out of the gate, but then all of a sudden, maybe the brothers coaching experiment isn't going to work out so well there in Buffalo. But now, an inspiring win against the Patriots. They're certainly feeling high coming into this game. But actually, looking at the statistics, it's pretty much what you would expect. This team ends up being average. Basically right around 13 to 15 in most defensive categories. So, again, they don't do anything particularly badly, but not anything particularly well either. I think the Rams are going to be able to write the script on offense.
It'll be interesting because Buffalo, that was a big win against the Patriots. Absolutely. And they do have some talented guys over there on that defense. So I'm not sure if the Rams are going to be able to just go in and write the script. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's right. This is the Tony Hunter Bowl. This is your two teams.
Yeah. I tell you, I really enjoyed playing for the Bills. I really did. And but I think we had a little more team success when I was with the Rams. We ended up going to the NFC Championship game and playing the Bears way back in 1985. And so we had a little more team success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was right before the Jim Kelly days. right?
Right. Well, Jim and I were drafted together in Buffalo. And we actually, a day or so after the draft, Buffalo flew us both into Buffalo. We stayed there overnight. Jim and I roomed together. We were the 2 first-round picks that the Bills had. But what happened was, and Jim, great guy. We had a blast. What happened was the USFL was around during that time.
Right.
And Jim signed with the Houston Gamblers from the USFL.
Yep.
And I tell you what, that was just like a punch in the gut for me when he signed with the USFL because that was going to be my quarterback.
Yep. Didn't like his contract terms, as I understand. Was that your understanding?
Yeah. I mean, basically, it came down to contract negotiations.
Yeah.
And I think they offered Jim quite a bit of money over a longer period of time. In fact, I think they offered him so much money he couldn't say no to him. And a funny story here, Jim called me the day he signed with the Houston Gamblers, and he said, "Man, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse." And he said, and I signed with them. And he said, "I'm gonna tell you right now, they're interested in you." So my agent, they contacted my agent, and I was on a plane that next day down in Houston. We negotiated with them. And I was real close to signing myself. But Buffalo ended up contacting my agent in Houston at that time and making an offer that was much better than the offer that they had made previously to me. So I decided to jump on a plane and go to Buffalo because it had always been my dream to play in the NFL.
Sure.
And when Buffalo made me a much better offer, I decided to go and sign in Buffalo. So I was real close, though, to becoming a Houston Gambler with Jim Kelly. That's how much I wanted to play with him. I wanted to be on the same team with him because I knew what kind of quarterback he was.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, from the outside, I can see why you took the Buffalo offer. Yeah, because the NFL dream is there, and
that's what it was. That's basically what it boiled down to. I had always wanted to play in the NFL, and even though I think Houston, they had more money was on the table over more years, but just the opportunity to play in the NFL was something that I couldn't really turn my back on.
Yeah, you look back on that USFL, and you know, I was a kid. I remember that at the time. And, you know, we love the USFL over at the GruelingTruth.net. But you look at it now, and it appears to be, you know, guys who couldn't quite make the cut in the NFL or, you know, superstars who wanted to make a statement. You know,
that's true. Reggie Williams, you got a guy like Reggie out of Green Bay. Reggie White. That's a guy.
Right. The Minister of Defense.
That's right. He got his start in the USFL. I tell you, some good players. There were some good players that came out of that league.
Oh yeah, Hall of Famers. Yeah, they had some Hall of Famers. Yep, absolutely.
Definitely.
This is well off topic. On the defensive side, of course, we're liking the Rams defense quite a bit. The Bills offense is a bit tough to get a beat on this year. Again, kind of up and down along with the Bills' fortunes. Can't get much of a hold on Tyrod Taylor. What's your take on Tyrod Taylor, the second-year quarterback there in Buffalo?
I haven't seen a lot of him. But he's been pretty successful. He's been pretty successful up there with the Bills. Very talented quarterback. Yeah, I think he's done a good job. I really do.
Yeah, it's unclear because, of course, you know, through this 2 years, inconsistency has been the buzzword, and it's unclear to me, at least, whether it's the game plan, you know, whether it's being out of sync with the receivers. You know, now he's missing Sammy Watkins over there. He's on IR for the rest of the year, or just, you know, being a young quarterback. You know, because it's obvious he has the skills. it's obvious that he has a unique style out there.
Right. Oh, yeah, he's talented.
Right, and he's got those leadership intangibles that they always talk about. This much is obvious, but still, the record is up and down. His performance looks like an EKG chart. One week awesome, the next week mediocre. Yeah.
Right.
You wonder which kind of game he brings here.
I think that our defensive line, the Rams defensive line, they're going to put a lot of pressure on Tyrod Taylor, and it's going to be tough sledding for him all day long.
Well, with Watkins out of the picture, too, the Rams secondary got the nice boost out there. They won't have as many problems in coverage, I'm sure. Right. Well, let's see. You want to make a prediction on this game?
Yeah, we can make a prediction, and I'm going to say with the Rams being at home, I think they're going to have a huge crowd at the Coliseum. Yeah, I think the Rams are on a roll right now and playing really good football. I'm going to take the Rams. I take the Rams to win this. Absolutely.
I'm going Rams. I'm going Rams for sure. But again, I'm kind of hesitant about the score here. In a Rams win, you figure not too many points are going to be scored. On the other hand, they did put up 37 a couple of weeks ago. So I'm kind of up in the air about this. I don't know, maybe around 20-17, maybe.
2017. You got the Rams 2017.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say that the Rams are gonna put up 28 points this weekend.
Wow.
We're gonna get it rolling. We're gonna get Gurley coming out of the backfield, get him involved in the offense a little more, and I'm gonna take the Rams 28-20. Rams over the Bills.
That sounds good for my fantasy team. My fantasy team has been depending on Todd Gurley this year.
Oh,
we're not doing as well as the Rams.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating year, man, I'm sure.
Yeah, poor Todd Gurley. But he'll get things going this week. All right, Tony, tell me what's happening on the Notre Dame show here at the Grueling Truther Os Davis.
I tell you, we're Notre Dame. It's a big week. We play North Carolina State. And North Carolina State is very good offensively. And we have a new defensive coordinator in Greg Hudson with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We have a new defensive coordinator, and this is going to be his first really big test. There was an improvement. They made improvement defensively last week. But this game will be an even bigger test because North Carolina State is tough offensively. So we shall show a lot. Offensively at Notre Dame, our cornerback, Teaser, he's playing fantastic football. They're averaging almost 40 points a game, almost 500 yards total offensive game, playing really well. It's a matter of how well our defense plays.
Sure. Okay. You heard it from Tony Hunter, who is the co-host of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish weekly show here at thegruelingtruth.net. So, for Tony Hunter, I'm Os Davis, and you've been listening to the Grueling Truth Los Angeles Rams 2.0 weekly show presented by Gridiron Mo. We will talk to you next week. What?
I'm not going 7-9. Okay?